Here we go, first taste.
Welcome to the Swedish Maker. So I thought, why not become self-sufficient on beer? And to do that, I need to make beer. So today, I'm making my own IPA beer. So here's what you need to make your own beer. 2 pots, a scoop, a sieve, a funnel, a whisk, ice or freeze blocks, a fermenter bucket with a lid, a thermometer, some disinfection, a yeast pipe, a siphon, bottles and bottle caps. And the ingredients needed are dried malt, crushed malt, hops pellets, yeast, water, oatmeal and sugar. Now time-wise we're looking about 2 to 3 hours to produce the beer, 2 weeks for fermentation, and then we're going to bottle them up and wait another 2 or 3 weeks before the beer is finished. And I've made that convenient for you, so at the end of the video you'll see the finished beer. Now let's get started making beer. Now cleaning is a very important part of the procedure. So in my case I've used some sterilizer and I've cleaned everything I need to use with this. This is a powder that I mix with water, but you can get any sterilizer as long as it's sterile. It's good to go. To clean the bottles, I'm using this bottle cleaner, and you just pour the sterilizer inside of here and then you push the bottle on top of this and that sterilizes the bottle. Now, step number 2 is called mashing. This is the process of mixing the grains with water and heating it up. Now, in my case, I'm going to heat 1.6 liters of water to 70 degrees Celsius. And once it's 70 degrees, I'll pour the crushed malt and the oatmeal into the water and remove it from the heat. At this point, you don't want to lose the heat too much, so I'm going to wrap a towel around the pot and keep the lid on. Now I'm just going to leave it for around 60 minutes or until the beer looks clear. If you leave it shorter, you'll get a muddier beer. Now, step number 3 is called leaching. Leaching is the process of removing dissolvable matter from the mixture. I'm using a sieve to get rid of the crushed malt and the oatmeal, and I'm just doing it a couple of times just to be sure. When that is done, I'll pour another 4.5 liters of water into the mixture, and then I'll pour the dried malt and stir it with a whisk until I have removed all the lumps. Now I can let it boil up, and when it's boiling, I'll pour the hops into the pot. I'll lower the temperature and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. During this time, I'm removing all the foam that appears on the surface with a spoon. Now, part number 4 is called cooling. Now it's time to cool it down to about 40 degrees Celsius. I have filled the sink with freeze blocks and cold water, but you can use ice as well. Once it's cooled down, it's time to pour everything into the fermenter bucket. So I'm going to fill the bucket up until I have about 9 liters in total. Now I can also pour the yeast into the bucket and stir it around. This is to get air into the mix so that the yeast starts reacting. Now I'll just leave this for about 2 weeks in a dark place. Step number 5 is to add carbonic acid. And we get that by adding sugar. I've already cleaned the bottles, but first I'm going to pour around 3 to 4 milliliters of sugar into each bottle. Then I'll just fill the bottles until there's about 2 centimeters of air left in the bottle. Then I can go ahead and add the bottle caps, and the beer is ready for another 2 to 3 weeks of storage in a dark place.
Okay, so the beer is finally finished. It's been about 4.5 weeks since I first started making this beer, and it's finally time to taste it. And to compare it, I got this other random IPA that I bought from the store, and it's just to compare it. Now, I'm not a professional in beer or anything, but you'll have to take my word for it. So let's pop this open. Okay, so this one is mine and this one is the one I got from the store. Here we go, first taste. It actually tastes like IPA. It was really good. Yeah, it's much better than I expected actually. Okay, so let's have to compare it with this one. So they're not the same. This one is a bit darker, as you can see in the color, and it's got some more fruity taste to it, and this one is about a bit sweeter. It was much better than I expected. Now, regarding the price, this one was a kit I got, and it gave me about 24 bottles of beer, and it was about $100. But in that kit I got everything I needed to make the beer. So I did a bit of calculations, and it's still a bit cheaper than what it would be buying it from the store. And obviously just getting the recipe ingredients would be even cheaper. Now, this was my first ever beer. I'm not a professional beer maker, but I will definitely make more beer since this one was so good. And yeah, one day I might be self-sufficient on beer. Alright, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and cheers.